That sounds great, and I will turn to a couple of the developers to talk about what got them into Android. I might start with Dave and Melanie. That there have been clamours for your apps to be on Android, and Eric, we're obviously very grateful to yours as well. But Dave, perhaps could you tell us a little bit about the history of Soundscape and how the tech army came to sort of take it over, and what you were up to in that intervening time period?
My name's Dave Craig, so I volunteer with the Scottish Tech Army. The Scottish Tech Army organises various volunteers doing tech stuff for quite a lot of smaller charities. And about 4 years ago, when Microsoft Research was shutting down the servers for iOS Soundscape, they got in touch with them. They already had contact with them, and so some other folks in the Scottish Tech Army took over running the servers and building the app, and so keeping it running on iPhone. And then about 18 months ago, I'd retired from my day job, and so was looking for some volunteering stuff to do. And at that point, there was just a kernel of starting some work on doing Soundscape for Android. So there'd obviously been lots of people had been requesting it. The Scottish Tech Army has lots of connections with different charities, so like the Guide Dogs for the Blind in the UK, Seascape, which is a small charity in Fife in Scotland. And so lots of requests for Android version of Soundscape had come in. So 18 months ago, I started doing it from thinking I was going to just do a little bit on the audio stuff. And then 18 months later, I'm still here, and we launched Soundscape on the Play Store 4 months ago, I'm going to say, around about that, thinking it would be nice and quiet. We'd just do a little launch, get a few testers, keep going. And then I think the first person we heard from was Warren and the Blind Android Users group, and suddenly we had real users. And so, yeah, that's how it got started. And since that, since the initial thing, we've got lots of feedback from users. We've added a lot of language support. So one of the important things for the Android version is that it's a worldwide app. iPhone is quite US-centric. Lots of places, Android is by far the number one. So India, 95% mobile users are Android. So adding language support. So since we launched, we've added Farsi, Arabic, Polish, Russian, Ukrainian, Icelandic. Got somebody in Nepal who is very keen to add Nepalese. So the language thing, and then the biggest feature we've added actually since we started, other than fixing various bugs, it was adding offline map support. So that went live about a week ago, and so you can now run the app. You can download your local region, and it'll do all the Soundscape goodness offline.
Oh, that's great, and I know there have been so many calls to have this back. Well, not back, but have it on Android at all. Just before we move on, I know it's not particularly Android related. What sort of stuff does Tech Army do for charities? Does it sort of help them run their networks, or what does Scottish Tech Army do more generally?
So yeah, it's a good question. So they basically anyone from all over the world can non-profits and charities can say, hey, we've got a tech thing, we don't know what to do with it. And Scottish Tech Army have probably 3,000 or 4,000 people who have, volunteered at some point over the 4 years they've been going. And so a lot of it is websites, maybe from kind of simple WordPress sites to slightly more complicated things. But basically they'll get they have some of the volunteers are website designers, they're user experience people, they're business development people, and so they'll go through the process of talking to the charity and figuring out what the solution is that can help them. So yeah, if you have a charity that needs tech help, the Scottish Tech Army is a great place to get in touch with, and they'll do more complicated things like customer relationship management software and things that charities need to basically make them run more efficiently. And it's all for free, so it's all volunteer work, but it's done with the aim to be sustainable, so that the solution you get will carry on working, and there are volunteers that can help you keep it working and so on. Soundscape's kind of a bit of a weird edge case for them because it's not a single charity kind of thing, and it's it's a much bigger project than most of the stuff they work on.
Fantastic. Well, that sounds like a really excellent initiative. Melanie, can I come to you next? Do you want to say a little bit more about Code Factory? I know you did at the start, but perhaps give us a bit more detail.
Yeah, sure. Code Factory is not only an accessibility company more. We had to change the course of the company over the years a little bit, especially, as you all know, we started off doing just screen readers for mobile devices. We started off with Symbian, and then we did the mobile phones for Windows. So that was our big thing for accessibility, actually the only thing we did in Code Factory. But obviously when all the OEMs started doing their own screen readers, we went into a different market providing text-to-speech to companies. And obviously we were always very strong also working with accessibility companies and offering them the NOAA and Cerence technology, which also included Eloquence. And then we were lucky enough, so we got a chance to actually bring out Eloquence on Android, like, what was it, 10 years ago, probably, for the first time. And it was hugely successful. And unfortunately, very quickly, there were pirated versions on the market. So we could not continue going on with the Eloquence on Android because it was just not worth it. And then when 64-bits come out, luckily the not legal version stopped working. And that was our push to say, okay, do we want to do this again? Do we think people need Eloquence on Android? And when we started talking with our users and the admirers of Eloquence, I think it was pretty clear that this is something that's worth the effort from our side, and that we want to come back and that we want to keep Eloquence alive as long as people would like to use that voice. So this is our big comeback with Eloquence on Android. I hope we've been safer this time. I hope it's going to be almost impossible to get illegal copies of this version. So fingers crossed. No piracy this time, and we also hope that some of the accessibility companies that use text-to-speech in their products on Android are also interested to bring this voice back, because as you all know, it's one of the greatest voices of all times, and we just didn't want to keep this in a drawer and say, okay, we don't open this drawer ever again, and we just let it sit in there to die. So hopefully we bring, let's say, the past into the future, and this is going to be successful, and everyone that's using Android will be happy and will be able to enjoy this voice again.
Melanie, I want to thank you so much because we're not only celebrating the blind Android users' 5th anniversary, but also I also want to take this opportunity to say we also celebrate the return of Eloquence, like you've mentioned. And frankly, whenever we talk about Eloquence, I'm looking at others. I'm not necessarily looking out for me. I love Eloquence, but especially for some of our brethren that are hard of hearing, Eloquence seems to be that magic that opens up those ears, if I could put it that way. And so they're able to hear it a little bit better when compared to other TTS engines. And so, frankly, as we celebrate the 5th anniversary of the Blind Android Users podcast, I also am celebrating with you guys, and so importantly that it comes to the Play Store again, returning to the Play Store. And I know that we've been bothering you guys for a long time to bring baby back on. And so we're so thankful that finally you guys heard us, and now we have it. And so congratulations to you and the entire team at Code Factory for making this possible. And we celebrate this with you. And when it turns a year, we're going to do a big celebration for you guys.
Thank you very much, Brian, for your very kind words. We appreciate us being on your show. We appreciate having the possibility to be part of your 5-year anniversary show. We all know nowadays having things going on through the years is not as easy as it used to be. So I think 5 years is a great milestone for you guys. And hopefully we can celebrate. Let's go even further in 5 years. Our 5 years on Android and your 10-year anniversary.
That would be a wonderful thing. Let's hope so. And I'll come now to Eric, our final developer I think we have with us. Maybe you can tell us a little bit more than you said in the intro, Eric, about what you've got.
Yeah, I'm an Android developer for many years now, and that's also what I do for a living. But besides that, love that free software idea, open source and collaboration and all of that stuff. I'm also using Linux for many years now. And so, yeah, I also started to develop some apps in my free time. And as I said, I already been there last year on the podcast. And so, yeah, I had another small app, and it was there, I think, 8 or 9 years or so, and it worked. But lately, I got a pull request from someone else who found that app on GitHub, and he did so much work, and that's what I mean with that cool free software thing. He just found the app, and he managed to get involved into my code there, and that's every developer knows that's not the easiest thing to do. And so he started to do things, and then I thought, okay, now it's the time to get some work done myself for the app again. And after that was done, I thought, why not just promote that again here on the podcast? And yeah, that's the story about that. The app, and it's, by the way, it's a very small and a niche app, I think so, and I didn't expect to get an invitation here, but yeah, why not? So maybe you can talk about the app later on if you want.
Well, I think you should tell us what the app is. That would be
Okay.
good. Yeah. Tell us now.
Yeah, fine. It's just a small app which basically can vibrate the current time, and that's something. The idea itself is around, since there are phones which can vibrate, of course, and yeah, I always like that, because especially if you're in a loud environment, let's say on a concert or something like that, you want to know the time, and it's difficult even if you have headphones on. And so I started to look for that, and I didn't find anything in 2015 or so. And so I just thought I develop that myself. And the basic idea is you do a double click on the power button of your phone, and then the time is vibrated. And yeah, that's the main idea. And from there, the app got some other features, like you can vibrate on an interval like 10 minutes or every hour or so. But I think the main thing why the app is still there is that power button double click. At least that's my motivation and my main use case for that.
That is great, but I was kind of wondering maybe if it's customizable to where I could, instead of say double press to feel the vibration or tell the time, if there could be a triple tap, because by default, some phones and the Pixel phone and Motorola phones, I'm looking at you, right? If you double tap the power, you're taking a picture or turning on the camera rather. So I'm kind of thinking maybe if there could be another option to where one could choose as to how many power presses he or she would prefer. I think that would be great.
Yes, of course, that comes to mind. Others liked the idea of the power button as well. And the thing is, it's unfortunately not doable for me as a, let's call it a standard developer. I'm not someone who can go into phones, firmware, and something like that. The problem is you can't really capture button clicks on Android any longer, especially if your app runs in the background. And so what the app does is it's not really capturing the power button click, but instead it checks if you turned on and off the screen. And therefore, the power button is the obvious choice for it. Your display is turned off. You click on the power button, the display turns on, and then you click again, and it turns off again. And that's the trigger for the app to vibrate. And yeah, it's a hack, but unfortunately, it's the only thing you can do. Others also requested it for some phones have other hardware buttons which can do something, and it's always the same story there. The only thing you can do is you can modify the interval, which in the app monitors the time between the display is switched on and off. And so it's in the default setting, it's 1.8 seconds max. So if you turn it on and you turn it off 10 seconds later, you don't want to get that vibration in your way. But for example, if your phone uses the double click for something, then you at least could say, okay, then the vibration starts with a very slow double click. It's not that mouse click, double click, it's more a click, click. And so it's at least it's doable. But yeah, as I said, it's the only thing you can change there.
In keeping with our celebration of the 5th anniversary of the Blind Android Users podcast, I reached out to Xavier and Edward from Code Factory asking if they could give us a couple codes for annual subscription to some of our lucky listeners, a couple of them. And to my surprise, while Google does not allow them to do that, it allows the maximum of 90 days. And so they've given us a bunch of codes. And so if you're interested in this, just send us an email and we're going to do a lottery, and the lucky ones will get what we have. And again, I want to thank Code Factory for letting us do this, or for them doing this, and especially because it was the lady power, Melanie, there. And I didn't know who it was that was making this possible. It happened to be her. And so, boys and gals, we got Melanie to be thankful for. And while she cannot prep you dinner, she can give you codes. And so don't go asking her, though, because she already has given it to us. So thank you, Edward from Code Factory, and Xavier from Code Factory, and most importantly, to the lady, Melanie. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Thank you, Warren. You're more than welcome. And I hope the lucky winners will enjoy their Eloquence licenses on Android. Thank you so much.